Hey everybody, it's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I just wanted to go into a few things. I'm having serious data issues. Maybe somebody can help me out, but it seems like no matter what I delete, it's never enough, and my phone is perpetually saving more data than I can delete. Somebody said Zoom might be better than Screen Recorder, but I still don't know if that would fix the data problem. But essentially, I have to do a real run-through of this video because I'm not even sure if I do multiple videos, if I'll be able to upload them all. So I'm going to go into the Thursday game, a tennis line I was able to exploit, as well as last night's game. Unfortunately, we didn't hit this one, and that's okay. Like I said, we're not going to hit every one. I did think they were going to make Rice look better on prime time. I was wrong. He looked pretty foolish, to be honest. He was hurt. At least that was the narrative. But he just wasn't. I mean, he was getting open. He just wasn't making catches. A couple fumbles, drop passes. Afraid to get hit, looked like. So a lot of that stuff. Again, I think a lot of it's scripted, most of it. But whether it is or not, he just wasn't playing well. I thought they were going to put him over. That was my I figured you're not going to put over Plumlee, who is not going to make it to the NFL. But I guess it does make some sense because you are putting UCF over. They announced a few times that they're going to be going into the Big 12 this year. Earlier this year, that happened with a team. It was, let me think, I'll remember it. I'm almost positive it was Utah State. Let me see. And the reason I did not like the spread, yeah, I'm almost positive. I think it was Utah. And essentially they were playing a team. Yeah, they played, I think that was it. I think it was them and BYU. I could be wrong. But basically they hadn't played they played like for the last 90 years, right? And the narrative was, I think it's Utah and BYU. I'm almost positive. The narrative coming into this game was that BYU is moving to a better conference. I think they were moving out of the Pac-10 or wherever these guys are, the Mountain Conference. And when I saw that, even though I really liked Utah because I'm like, well, it's their last match in 90 years, they're going to make it close. The other narrative I was seeing was, well, what if they're going to really push BYU since they're moving to a better conference? So that one we did cover the spread. I used the same logic here. I didn't think UCF moving to the Big 12 was going to make that big, of a difference. I figured they would make them look good, but I still thought they were going to make Rice, the guy who was going to be bringing in the money. I thought they'd make him look nice. So my read was wrong there. I don't know why I wrote W. So I wanted to cover that. On that note, this was a exploit. If you notice underneath, I wrote Korean tennis even. This is something that, unfortunately, if you're a live bettor, you'll understand. You have seconds to make a live bet. And what happened was, if you watch my last tennis video, you'll see how I just nickel and dime my way up a couple dollars doing tennis bets, because it's the only one you can bet on games. So you don't have to bet on an inning or something or a quarter and then wait an entire quarter. You literally can bet every game. So I was picking up, $2 here, nothing crazy. And I wasn't going to put this in a video because I have a video showing this, how you can just do this. And then I noticed a line that there's 5 to win 1. And then I noticed a line, and this is it. I made the SMU money back because of a mistake on my sports book. So if anyone here knows tennis and you watch the lines, when it goes to 5-2 or 5-1 and it's the server, typically at around 30 love, right? They're going to close the lines because he's essentially won that set. They know the server's odds of blowing that game and then losing 2 more breaks are very minute. That usually gets closed. Well, I was doing $1-2 bets on this, and sure enough, that happened. I noticed that it was 5-2. He went up 30, I think it was. I think he went up 30 love, and I noticed that the line was still open. So I just, as quick as I could, got my money in. And you could say, oh, well, maybe it was a trap. Thing is, people at midnight are not doing live bets. Not many people, at least, on this. Especially not enough for them to set a trap that somebody might actually win. Just say they bet the underdog. So for me, when I see that, it's just awesome. So if you like to do live betting and hedges, the reason I really came here is to show you. That's always nice, the big win. Again, we were huge favorites, and they forgot to shut the line off. So it really is just like a steal almost. But these ones I like. I bet $5 on the server, and should that server not win, the next server I'm going to bet around $12.50 to $13 on, and we're still going to profit. You can do that 3 or 4 times. It's very rare to see 4 breaks in a row. And what's good is you can start with 50 cents instead of $5. And you might be saying, well, to win 20 cents. Well, yeah, you can do that for a while. And even if you make yourself $5, you just got yourself a gallon of milk, bread, whatever. I don't know. But it adds up. My point is, we finished in the green. At least, by doing this bet, I was able to finish in the green here by about $3 when you add this crap in. Looks like Pitlands, but I was doing this, and I was just going to make my way up to 19. And then this line did not close in time, and I was able to exploit that. So I just wanted to show you that. I thought it was cool. So as you can see for this sequence, is why I evened it out. Now there are 2 that I picked, and like I said, my data is so shitty that every time I try and do a video, it's telling me I don't have data. So I deleted more shit, and I'm hoping I can get everything in this video. And the 2 that I picked, I did officially make my decision on Denver, just so you guys know. I've made my decision, and it's probably going to be 50-50 still. Like with people, I'm sure half of you are going to agree with me and half aren't, but that's okay. And we're going with the Colts. Colts +3. And I'll tell you why. There's a few metrics I took into account. The biggest metric that I used, I couldn't really use against the spread. I could have picked the Colts over, I guess, because they haven't covered an over yet, but I can see them starting 0-5. I liked the fact that despite losing Jonathan Taylor, the line barely moved. To me, that was revealing. That told me, it just tells me, I could be wrong, that they're really trying to get some action coming in, because I feel like without Jonathan Taylor, they're probably they should be getting like 6 or 7 points. That's what I feel like. So it tells me that there's probably a lot of action that they're going to be coming in on the Broncos. And it also tells me it's probably still pretty even as far as the public. The public probably has even money on this game. That's the biggest indicator Vegas goes by to move lines. Yes, they move them for psychological reasons. They'll move them so they can pick up on both sides. Like examples would be the Saints. Some people actually got in at 2.5. I got in at 3. Then it moved to 4.5. So you could theoretically have had somebody pick the Saints at 2.5 and lose, try and hedge with the Vikings at 3, and they could have lost both bets. So really, there's times that they'll move it a point for that reason. But in this case, it seems more psychological to me. I think that they're trying to psychologically tell us that not much has changed with, again, Taylor being hurt, which, again, I think they're going to try and hammer home the narrative of Randy Gregory being out for the Denver team is catastrophic, and will they be able to function without him? I do think Russell might do okay, but what I really do like is I think Indianapolis, like I said, the reason being Jonathan Taylor is a blow to that team. And the fact that the spread hasn't changed, it kind of reaffirms something I've been believing all along. Matt Ryan, I don't see them making him look bad on Monday night. I think Pittman is probably the biggest draw that you have that hasn't really been seen or focused yet. So I kind of akin what I think Pittman's going to do to what Deebo Samuel did. Not that Sutton won't do well and young guys on Denver, Surtain on defense. They have guys they want to flex. But I do think it makes more sense if you look at the line barely moving despite Taylor being out. And if we look at the fact that Randy Gregory's injury has been brought up the last 2 weeks on primetime, It was brought up when he was playing on against the Niners. That game we picked them to win, the Broncos, and they talked about how crucial it was that he was back. And then the next week when we watched the Niners, I was watching the Niners game, the Rams game, where we picked the Niners. They're talking about it in that game. So they're still talking about Randy Gregory. So it's interesting. They wouldn't be talking about it if they weren't trying to start something. I think I agree with Mark. Mark, again, Paul, I'm sorry. Mark brought up something else. Paul had brought up, basically, he thinks, and it's a good point, with Indianapolis' offensive line, it really doesn't matter who's running the ball. When you're pushing the narrative that an offensive line is winning the battle, you could put anybody in there. It doesn't matter. I also think it's going to be more of a passing-oriented offense. But yeah, for those reasons, I do like the Colts. I think in a rigged or a non-rigged game, the Colts should win this. If it's a non-rigged game, you have Wilson, who hasn't been playing well, and that's also been the narrative. And you have a much better force on the offensive front, and you have a much better defense. Denver's defense has not been great. A lot of young guys getting exploited. So that compounded with the fact that they won last week on primetime, I think Russell does the job here for the Colts, puts over their defense, and it keeps the Colts division close too. And it also keeps the narrative going. Again, can Russell get it done? And we're 5 weeks in, and he has a losing record. To me, that narrative is going to get people going. I still think that he makes the playoffs. I don't think you can find 7 teams in the AFC that have better drawing quarterbacks. I can think of 4 pretty quickly, and then it takes me a second to think of 3 more. So obviously this one's a close one. It's my first sequence because, like I said, I was able to get that steal with the tennis. It's not one I would recommend if you are following my system. I wouldn't recommend you do this on a second sequence. That's a reason on some, like Stanford here, I haven't chosen one yet for my second leg, because with our second leg, we have to be even more careful. We should be careful with them all, but we can afford to take chances here with like SMU, because I had Green Bay or Tampa Bay lined up in the holster for round 2. Same with Colorado State University. I did pick that one as well. I might as well just get this all out in one video. And I like that one because they haven't hit the over all year. And this one's a very funny story. It's an interesting story. Colorado State, the coach, up and left, took basically the top 4 prospects with him. And, of course, they think he's a shitbag now in Nevada. So now he's returning to play them with all their old players. I was inclined to take Colorado State because they haven't covered a spread all year. But I do think there's a good chance Nevada gets some revenge here. Colorado State has been presented as an awful, terrible team. It's like watching high schoolers. So I do think there's a chance they might start 0-5 against the spread. But if they are to win, I think the over has to hit because of how bad their defense has been presented. So I don't see them winning without the over hitting. So by that logic, I like the over because they can lose and the over can still hit. Whereas I feel like a win and an over go hand in hand. So that's why I took the over here. That one I thought it was actually tonight for some reason when I picked, but it's actually going to be, I think, Friday night. And of course, this is the big one, Thursday night. I like Colts +3. I'll probably do a video. I can go more extensively into it, but you guys got the meat of the matter. We've talked in the comments. I think you know why I like the Colts +3. Of course, we'll do one around after the game, see how close we were to the target. I still want to get my breakdown out too. It's just frustrating because, as I said, I wanted to go separate into my tennis video for my live bettors and hedgers because I think you guys would have found it really interesting. But I had to condense everything into one video because I'm going to have to find something new to do. I noticed like every 5 or 6 videos I put out, my phone's data, even if I delete the file after putting it out, my phone's data just keeps climbing on me. So if you guys know anything about that, maybe you can help me out. I don't know what's driving my data up so much. Even when I check like the sources, I don't know. It's just like YouTube and shit. But I don't think YouTube should be causing that much. But yeah, if you guys know, maybe like I said, I'm really technologically not savvy. But I wanted to cover everything I picked. That way everybody is able to see my picks in due time and have time to do whatever they want with them. I didn't want to drop the Colts at noon tomorrow, and God forbid this data issues keeps dropping. So I did officially go Colts. For us that picked SMU, I am sorry. Like I said, I never claim to be perfect. I try and pick as good as I can, but there's a reason we did that for our first leg. I do really like Tampa and Green Bay as second legs to fill in. So we have a couple outstanding, but I do like to plug Tampa and Green Bay in to whatever ones we might not cover. If you want me to go, I will cover the Sunday games. Don't worry, I'll definitely hit them. Again, we don't want to have too many outstanding at a time, but we can have between 3 and 5. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'll go into my predictions on games that even I'm not picking. But I just really want to get Thursday out there. I know a lot of you guys want to see it, and I know it's not a deep analysis, but there's not much deeper to go. You have both teams being presented as shitty teams that are injured, and their better players are either out or injured or not playing well. I really had to just sift through as much bullshit as I could and just go with the fact that I don't think the Broncos win back-to-back primetime games, and I don't think it matters. I think a lot of people with Taylor being out, that line should have changed. It should not still be 3. I think they might have been 3.5, but still, that line really should have changed. That injury should be catastrophic. So I think Vegas knows something, and that's why I went with Indy +3. And Colorado State, I like the over. And we'll go into those games later in the week. But yeah, everyone, thanks for again, just being positive and patient. Sometimes, because I'm not really technologically savvy, my videos might just kind of run into each other. I don't go into a video saying I'm going to talk about this. I kind of just like to hit everything we had covered. And if I ever make a bet, such as even a goofy tennis bet, I like to show you guys so we can all be following this in real time. So we'd be still around tripled up right now, about 540, but we have those 2 outstanding wagers. And should they hit, we'll be looking nice. We'll be approaching 600. So always happy earnings, and you guys are awesome. Have a good night.